I'll do this.
Shit's fire.
What is up, everybody? What'd you guys think of that intro, right? Jules actually got on with me yesterday and showed me how to do it. But listen, what an honor to sit here again with my mate, Gary Adshead. I hope I didn't murder it. I probably did, and I'm sorry if I did. My mate from California Superbike School out in the UK. I had him on earlier. I actually at the tail end of last year where we talked about the school and how I got into motorcycles and all that good stuff. But I actually want to get more in depth in the whole school. But first, welcome, Gary. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure for me too.
Yeah, it's absolutely an honor. For some reason, it says I'm having trouble streaming to Facebook, but I'll figure that out as we get in this conversation. I don't know what's going on, right? But anyway, what's been going on since the last time you was on here and we had a chat with the school? Has there been any changes?
Well, we ran the school as part of the Kawasaki UK stand at the Motorcycle Live, the national bike show at the National Exhibition Centre at the end of November, and that's when we normally launch our dates for the next coming season. So we launched them for the NEC, and we were really successful. We had an awful lot of people came up, a lot of new people coming on board and booking the school day, but also a lot of returning customers, which is fabulous. So we're clearly doing something right, which is great news. So we did the show. We'll be partnered again by Kawasaki for 2024, which is great news. We're looking forward to that, getting on some motorcycles again. And the bookings for the school have been going really well. We've had probably just over 70% now of all places booked up for the year. We run a school at Donington Park in July, as you know, and that sold out pretty much overnight. It was amazing. So we're really looking forward to it and getting going again.
Dude, that's awesome, man. You guys had an amazing year last year, and I assume it's been a great start to this year as well, as we had a little conversation before this actually started. So I'm excited for you guys. You know, it's great that you guys do what you do, and it's fortunate you have a program like that and genuine people that actually care, right? Sometimes you come across that some people don't in our industry, but for the majority, it's been proper. I mean, everybody, right? And I couldn't imagine coaching somebody like I've taught. Listen to me. I have shown some of my friends, you know, how to ride. Never rode before, right? So I get them out on the bike. Okay, this is that. I start them off sitting on the bike first, flat foot, right? Just barely let out the clutch, roll it up on the ball of your feet. So, you know, the whole basic. And then by the end of the day, they're doing laps around the neighborhood, and it's awesome, right? But on your level, that's a whole nother level, right? Because they already know how to ride. You're teaching them how to hone their skills, right?
There's a lot of people, you know, you get the things like the National Bike Safe and the Royal Society Prevention of Accidents and the Advanced Riders, all that kind of stuff. They spend a lot of time with the riders working particularly on things like hazard perception and planning your ride and making sure that you're as safe can be and can anticipate, you know, things as far as you possibly can to make sure that you get to the other end of the ride and you're safe and you've enjoyed it. And we spend time working with the riders and getting the rider to improve their skills and invest in themselves. You know, you get a lot of people who buy, doesn't even have to be a new bike, they'll buy a used bike and then they'll say, right, okay, I'm going to put an end can on it, and they tailor it to their own tastes and make the bike the individual. And they spend a lot of money on accessories, but you very rarely get motorcyclists who spend money on improving their own skills and investing in their own riding. So it's nice to have people on board who want to come along to the school. And it is a significant investment in terms of the cost of the school. And so we find because of that, when people want to come and learn, then they want to put as much into it as they can and also take as much from it as they can. So it's a great place to be. And of course, the coaches are all former students. And so they recognize the journey that a lot of particularly the people who come and do level one, they recognize the journey that they're on because they've been there. They know what the problems are.
Yeah, it's You know, I've taken this school, not on any level of what you guys offer. I wish, looking back, that I did. My first one was in '98 in Phoenix, Arizona, when I did my first track day. Right, you of course new rider school. You sit down, they go over the track, you know, and all that. You went out. They told you the do's and the don'ts. You know, don't think you're out here being Miguel Duhamel, because you're not. Right, everybody just be safe. You know, the whole basic kind of intro, orange t-shirt over the leathers. Went out there, followed instructors a couple laps, and then basically it was like, look, just use your head, be safe, right? If you have any questions, we're here, let us know. But it wasn't, other than that, it was basically, you know, off we go. If you had questions, you come back and ask, and yeah, they absolutely help. But um looking back and watching videos of not just your school but other schools too, you know, on how they properly teach people. They have the stationary bike where they teach them proper body position, you know, looking through the corner, not looking too far down or too far ahead, you know, all that stuff that goes with it. um I wish I would have done. And hey, it's not too late, right? I'm still young, I can still get on there and do it. So
We
um
we get we get some people coming to school who are older than both of us, which is great to see. You know, they love it.
it's also, it's funny you said that, Gary, because I actually got Facebook checked on here, but it's not showing up on my phone. But we're live on there too, anyway. But when I remember in '95, I was getting ready to get my license. I had to wait until 96. Was it 95? Yeah, somewhere 95, 96. Anyway, uh, went and signed up for, we have a class out here at Virginia Western called motorcycle safety course, right? So you go out there and you get a discount on your insurance because you provided, hey, I took a safety training course and all this stuff. So I remember when I showed up, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's half classroom, half out there. It's proper basic figure eight, 15 miles an hour, come to the stop, you know, all this circles and all this stuff. Just your basic, that's it, right? So I remember I showed up that morning, Gary, and I'm looking over and I was like, there ain't no way she's gonna ride, right, dude? She was like 78 years old. And she's
Wow.
like, yeah, I always wanted to do it. My husband I'll never forget the conversation. We actually become good friends. I've tried to help her. We gave each other a hug. It was awesome, right? She's like, yeah, my husband ended up passing away and I always wanted to do it. He was afraid of motorcycles, couldn't do it. So you know what? I'm in. And I was like, yes, I love it. Yeah, it was good stuff. And I never forget the smile and the satisfaction she had Sunday when she got her certificate, right? It was good
Yeah,
stuff, man. You feel that energy and that love and that satisfaction, and it's everything.
yeah, it's just that whole smile on the face. The people when they get something and they overcome a barrier or something they don't understand, the whole sort of being lights up. It's great to see.
That's awesome. It is, dude. Listen, everybody, I can't see it on my phone, so the people that are commenting, I don't see your name. But what is up, everybody? How you guys doing? What's up, Chris? I don't know what's happening with it on my phone, but anyway, you know, it's always something I wanted to do. So let's start, Gary, from the beginning. I go online, californiasuperbike.co.uk. I
Yep.
sign up obviously for the first course, right? So I go through the whole email, name, pay, credit card, or whatever it is, and then sign up for a particular date and time because you guys got a calendar on there, right? So for everybody listening, and me included, right? I've been really interested in this. What do beginner riders taking your first course, what do they need to bring in preparation for that day or that weekend?
Okay, so first of all, they do need a full UK motorcycle license. And of course, it has to be valid. And if they don't have a UK motorcycle license, then they need an ACU competition license. So they have to demonstrate a measure of competency to be able to ride and control a motorcycle. So they'll turn up on the day with the license or competition license, whichever it is. And the day starts at 7 a.m. with registration. So they'll turn up at the circuit, park the bike in a designated place. They'll be shown where to park it. They'll be told which particular group they're in because we split them into 3 groups, and then they'll go and sign on with a member of staff who's registering that particular group. So once they've been registered, they'll be given a number to put on the front of the bike. They'll be given a booklet which will explain the day for them in terms of the classroom sessions that they're going to be doing and the things they're going to be learning, with space on there for them to make their own notes as well. So they do that. Then there's by the time we've registered everybody, the bikes outside are given a once over just to make sure that they're track worthy. You know, it's as long as things aren't hanging off them and chains not dragging on the floor, that sort of thing. We've got tread on the tyres that need them, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the bikes are checked over to make sure they're okay. The rider will have his riding kit checked to make sure that that's in good condition and no holes in the leathers. On the school day in the UK, we can wear either one-piece leathers or two-piece zip together leathers, but the leathers have to come right the way around where it comes to zipping together. If a person's got any questions prior to the school with regards to their kit and what they've got, then they can always give us a call and we'll talk them through it and give them the information rather than having a nasty surprise on the morning of the event.
Yeah.
So they need leathers, boots, gloves. They need a back protector as well. Motorsport Vision, the track owners insist that the riders have back protectors these days, which is a perfectly reasonable request.
Absolutely.
And the riders' helmets need to have an ACU gold sticker on them. What that means, as far as some people are concerned, is that if they have one of these flip-up helmets, you know, where they sort of detract from the gym bar, that sort of thing. A lot of those, while they're extremely good quality, don't have an ACU gold sticker on there, and so we need to make sure that they've got a gold sticker on there. Again, boots and gloves are in decent condition. Once everything's signed off and they're ready to go, they wait around until it's time to go in the classroom. When the bikes are checked, just one important point is that because we're a school, we have dispensation from Motorsport Vision and their departments and our insurers not to have to make brake lever guards compulsory. I don't know what the situation is in the States now, but riders have to have on-track days a brake lever guard for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, because we're a school, then we're exempt from that ruling, so you don't need a lever guard. So 8 o'clock comes along, then it's into the classroom for the introduction of the staff, outlining the various members of staff's roles for the day, what they're going to be doing. Then there'll be a safety briefing given. Motorsport Vision again wish the riders on our registration will be given a wristband, which relate to the group they're in, and they need to keep that wristband on. But then they also need a wristband from Motorsport Vision and need to sign one of their indemnities. So riders will end up with 2 wristbands on the day. Again, it's Motorsport Vision's requirement that they have those rather than ours.
Yeah.
So once everybody's in the classroom and the safety briefing's been, we'll go through the safety briefing. Again, because it's Motorsport Vision, then you have to do an online safety briefing to satisfy their requirements. So they'll get an online safety briefing and then we'll do ours as well. Because there are certain points in our safety briefing which aren't covered by Motorsport Vision, and we want to make sure that everybody understands what their obligations are in terms of looking after themselves and being respectful to the riders on track. So after the safety briefing, then everybody will get the first classroom session. So generally the level 1s and the level 2s will have a classroom session with me, and the level 3s will have a classroom session with one of the other coaches, and the level 4s will go to do their own sort of personalized program kind of thing. So what happens is that we'll give them a classroom session. Initially, it's all about the throttle, how to stabilize the bike, how you do that, at what point in the turn you do that, the benefits you get from doing that, what happens to the motorcycle when you do it. And so that session will run for whatever time it takes, really, just to make sure that everybody thoroughly understands what's expected of them and what they're meant to be doing out on track. So we'll do the classroom session for them. When the riders go out on track, we want them to ride at about 75% of their maximum ability. So they've got 25% of attention left to think about what they're doing, and they're able to apply it. You ride at 100%, you've got no spare attention left to practice the techniques you're doing. So after they've had the first classroom session, so level 1 will be, as I said, all about stabilizing the bike. Level 2 is all about visual skills. So we'll start working on the points to look at on the track and on the road, and everything that we do relates just as well to the road as it does on track. So they'll get a session on that to give themselves accuracy and consistency in the turns to make sure they can keep doing the same thing every single time. And the level 3s will be dealing particularly with rider stability, and that will initially be about where you set your body up for the turn, how that affects the balance of the bike, what happens if you start jumping around on it. And so we'll go into that sort of thing, and how at what point to get set up when you're on the approach to the turn itself. As I say, level 4s is a personal program, so they can be working on anything from the previous 3 levels, or we've got a load of drills that we can get them working on just to help them iron out those little weaknesses that they don't necessarily are unable to fix at the time, and so need a helping hand and somebody from the outside looking in, really. So they'll be given their first assignment for the ride when they go out. So the groups will go out, do 2 sighting laps, come back in again, line up at course control, ready to ride, and then they'll meet the riding coach for the day. So the coach will come up to them, say, sort of introduce himself, show them what sort of helmet he's riding, whether it's got any graphics on it or something, so they can identify him. They'll check that they know what they're doing, and then they're allowed out on track to practice the techniques. So each coach will have 3 students in each group, so it's quite personal in that respect. And so then the riding coach will go out, find those students in the group, make sure that they can practice the techniques and apply. If not, then they'll use hand signals to help them along. And if necessary, which isn't very often really, if they need pulling into pit lane just to clear something up that the student hasn't quite got, then they'll do that. But that's usually very short, 90 seconds at most, and then just get them back out there again and get them riding, which is what they want to do. So at the end of the session, then they'll come back in again, park the bikes in the designated areas. Then they'll go into the garages, and they'll have a personalised debrief with the coach, who'll help, sort of work with them on the turn so it's not quite as good as they'd expect it to be, validate them for where the coach is seeing a good job, and also find out where the students are doing a good job, because that's just as important, where they think they're happy. Yeah. So from there you get a break while the other groups are out, usually about 20 minutes, something like that. And then you're back in the classroom again with me or whoever might be there. So you go, so the level 1 students then will be working on turning the bike, where to turn it in particular, how that has an effect on your line through the turn, that sort of thing. The level 2s will be working again more on visual skills, with their visual sequence through the turns. The level 3s will be working then on transitions, moving around on the bike in between things like chicanes and switchbacks, that kind of thing, so that they're able to move around on the bike without upsetting it. And a lot of people think that level 3 really, if we're going to do body position, then it's knee down stuff. But there's quite a lot of the body position stuff in the level 3 that does translate again to the road. You want to go doing knee down stuff on a roundabout, you're going to get an invitation to meet the magistrates. But you can still move around and still have an effect on how the bike behaves in the turns, just with what we teach, but just not to that sort of extreme.
Right. That's, yeah.
Again, the level 4s are working on their personalised program all the way through the day, so that's how their day goes. So again, once they have the classroom, they're given a job to do at the end of each classroom session as well, some things for them to achieve while they're out there, so they're not riding around without a purpose. So they'll be given their next job to do, then they'll be sent out on track again to practice that technique. Coach will work with them, personalised debrief, break, then back in the classroom for the 3rd session, which certainly in the case of level 1s is about steering the bike, how you steer it, the benefits you get from steering it, particularly quickly. Level 2s will be working again on transitions, but in a slightly different way, so they can move across the bike quicker. Level 3s will then be working, level 3s are working on that. Level 1, then back again, out on track, back in the classroom. Then the 4th classroom session will be about the input that the rider makes on the bike, how it affects it. The level 2s will then be working again with visual skills, with peripheral vision. Level 3s then will be working on how to make the bike take a lot tighter line without leaning it over some more. We have a technique for teaching that to avoid obstacles, or maybe the turn gets tighter. And then finally, the final classroom for the level 1s is a visual skill, again to get them looking into the right place in the middle of the turn. Level 2s then go on to braking, in particular how braking can help you set your speed more accurately, and we deal with trail braking in that particular classroom session. And then the level 3s do a technique to get the bike off the side of the tyre and get better drive down the straights. So that's the sort of process that we go through with the school. So each level has a specific set of skills to learn each day, and they all build on each other. So we'll get the bike stable, then we'll give the rider the space and time to be able to take advantage of the more stable bike. And then, of course, we get them, they've got the space and time, the bike stable, we can get moving around on it.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a whole lot in one day, right? Yeah, that's awesome. So is it just a 1 day class, or can they sign up for a 2 and a 3 day class?
We used to run 3 days, but we found that people get really, really tired by the end of the third day. We're giving them 15 techniques, you know, and in some cases we'll be doing off-track drills with them as well. So by the time they get to day 2 and they've had 10, then generally their head tends to be a bit full, and it still starts falling apart a bit on day 3. So we run 2 day events, and people can either book. What a lot of people do is you'll get people who, when we run a 2 day school, they'll book level 1 on the first day, level 2 on the second, or if they've done it before, they'll book 3 and 4 or 2 and 3, whatever it might be. But you also get some people who come and book level 1 at the start of the year, go away and practice it for a month or 2, and then come back and do level 2 in the middle of the year and something at the end. It's all very much dependent on the individual and what they want, you know, and whatever suits their particular learning curve and their sort of desire to improve.
That's awesome. So going back to like rider gear, right? Does their helmet have to be a certain year, like under 5 years new, or does that really matter?
We don't necessarily determine whether a helmet's 5 years old or not. I think really that's a common sense thing for the rider to take. Really.
Yeah.
Don't check the date of manufacture on the helmet, as long as it's in good condition. You know, the chin strap secure, the outer structure of the shell's great. They don't turn up with a visor that's you know, scratched, that sort of thing. Then
Yeah,
you know, we'll let them out.
So for those that don't have their own bike, you guys obviously have bikes for rent, even for level 1 riders too, as well.
Yeah, we have Ninja 650s, which are great. Funnily enough, there's a lot of people who do level 4 who've got super bikes who come and do the school and use the Ninja 650s because they say they're a cracking motorcycle, and so they're really popular. We've got some Z900s that we rent out as well, which again is a nice street bike for people just to sit and relax on. And we have the mighty ZX10, of course. So we can rent out to people. You know, we're not going to let somebody jump on a ZX10 with 6 months riding experience, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's the range of motorcycles that we have. The coaches all ride the ZX10s, so it's nice to see them riding around.
Yeah, that's awesome. So are those ZX, are they just stock, bone stock motorcycles?
Yeah, absolutely standard. They're all in road trim. They've got road silencers fitted, road bodywork. The only thing we change when we get the bikes, because we get them direct from Kawasaki, they all come crated up. All we do is take the tires off and stick Pirelli Rosso 4s on, and they're great. And that's all we do to them, nothing else.
And send them out and be on your way, right? Yeah, and for those that are listening, what racetracks do you go? Do you guys actually do one at Cadwell Park? Do you guys host one there, or is there certain?
Yeah, we used to do Cadwell Park, but there were some logistical things which meant that we've not been able to go for the past couple of years. Of course, Cadwell Park doesn't have any pit garages really, so the only area the way we can do the classroom is in the cafe, and you know, we can check the bikes in the scrutineering bay, but generally it's very much what you might call an outside venue. There's not much there really to protect the riders, especially if it's wet, and sometimes it does rain quite. Everybody loves the circuit. There's no doubt about it. But we use Bedford Autodrome, which is good. That's a bit of a hidden gem really. We used to use the Stowe circuit at Silverstone, but that changed, so we weren't able to use that. So we went to Bedford, and what we found at Bedford was, because it's used for corporate car days and they run MSV track days there, the facilities are good, the track surface is good, and it's really quite a bit of a hidden gem. It's wide, it's fast, it's got a nice variety of turns, and we like it. So we go to there. We use Donington Park, but we only do 1 day a year at Donington. And as I said before, that sells out really, really quickly. Can't think why. So we run the full GP circuit. So you get the Melbourne loop and it all going on there. So everybody likes doing that. And we run the Indy circuit at Brands Hatch.
Nice. I actually went to on my way out of Cadwell Park, my mate Daniel Parker, on the way to his house, we went by Brands Hatch. Drove straight up. It was crazy, Gary, because we straight up to the gate right there where the guard shack is. He's like, "Oi," he said, hey, my mate's here from the United States. Is it cool if we just pull in here and look?" He's like, yeah. Just don't make a lap around the track. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way in America that shit would happen. They'd be like, hell no, get out of here. Yeah, man. So we drove in there, drove across the track, went, seen all the pit garages back behind it, stood on the podium, got my picture taken, all that good stuff. Brands compared, shoot, my microphone. Brands compared to Cadwell obviously is twice the width, super fast. I mean, it looks super fast. Obviously it is. But yeah, it's those are the only two tracks I got to see. But Brands looks like a really fun track to be on. I mean, it's just, there's not many corners, right? But it's wide open. I mean, it looks like you could just pin it.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, Brands, because you see it on TV and you get an idea of the elevation, but it's only when you stand there and look at it how much elevation you realise it has, especially that sort of section through Paddock Hill and up and down around the back of Druids and around there. You know, that's really quite impressive.
It is, and compared to Cadwell Park, man, like the whole down there where everybody can park is huge, right? It's like, yeah, it's definitely a newer track, like a newer style track, man. It's you're right. You can say that, you know, any track that I've been to, you see it on TV and you're like, oh my God, that looks so fast, or, you know, it don't look that hilly like they claim it is. And you show up, you're like, oh shit, this is proper right here. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a lot of people who say that the corkscrew is the best turn at Laguna, but for me, it's turn one.
Dude, I say that all the time. I'm like, dude, the corkscrew, it's cool and all, right? Yeah, it's great, but turn one's fifth gear, flat out, blind corner to the left, over the crest. Oh shit! I hope I hit my marker right, my turn-in point right. Yeah, otherwise I'm gonna be, yeah, it's not gonna be good. So you're right. Turn one is just, man, it's same thing I think of. Like turn one at Coda is pretty good too, you know, because it's such a steep hill. But Coda, to me, man, I played on the PlayStation. I just suck, dude. Cadwell Park too. Everybody knows it's my favorite track, but man, I can't get around that place without crashing at least 30 times. I don't care what I'm on. It's hard, man. It's tricky. It's such a tricky track, but it's such an amazing course, you know. Yeah, man, good stuff, Gary, dude. So obviously, do you guys have like Leon Haslam come to the school, or do you have any racers that actually come and do coaching?
We tend to find that a lot of our coaches really are just effectively what you might call normal riders. You know, we get a few that have raced in the past and have found themselves on the podium, but in the main, a lot of people just want to help other people to learn to ride, and it's quite. I think the analogy was made a while ago, and I think it was, I can't remember what it was now, but they made a comment that, you know, you've got somebody like Tiger Woods, the golfer, who's an absolutely fantastic golfer, but nobody knows who Tiger Woods' coach was. And so, you know, there's the methods of teaching there. We have had some racers in the past who've done very, very well and have turned out to be, you know, good coaches. But the majority of them really just, they do track days and that sort of thing, because you don't get so many out on the road now. But no, we just have ordinary people. It's the communication skills and the understanding of what we teach that's important when we're looking for a coach. So you know, you do get some riders, as you know, who can go as fast as you like, but aren't actually sure on how they do it or how they go quick.
Yeah.
So you know, that depth of understanding that the coaches have helps bring people on. You know, we do, as you know, we do work with racers, and the thing with the racers is they have the same problems as everybody else, just on a higher level.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that statement right there is so true, because a lot of people have the misconception that, oh, well, they must know something that I don't. And true, yeah, absolutely they do. It's called technique, right? In proper way of going that level of fast, but even they get stumped by the most simple things at speed, trying to make up that last tenth or half a second or whatever it is. It's You
know, the changes that they're looking to make, as you say, you know, the what, tenths, hundredths, sometimes the thousandths of a second.
Yeah.
You know, and those margins are so small, and it just may hinge on just one particular thing on a particular part of the track that they haven't quite got right, that makes the change for them. And you know what, half a second will cover what, the top 10 on the grid sometimes.
Facts, yes. I mean, MotoGP top 15, right? I mean, it's crazy, man. Yeah, yeah. That's and then of course you had your picture taken with Johnny Ray, absolute legend. And I was like, oh my god, what a pick! I actually got I don't know if you guys can see it, but right above my light switch, that's Johnny Ray at Cadwell Park.
Yeah.
Yep, on a Red Bull. I think that's a Honda, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's when I seen that picture with you and him, I was like, oh my god, dude, lucky. So Johnny's super cool in real life.
Absolutely lovely fella. Yeah, fantastic. You know, he was going out on the Pirelli track day, and he was sat in the garage with us with a cup of tea, talking, and you know, everybody wanted to meet him, which was great. You know, and he's such a. I think you find that with a lot of the racers, though. You know, they're such nice people. They're all down to earth. But he was great, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's. You know, you hear the old saying, you don't ever want to meet your heroes or people you look up to, right? It is true in certain cases, but that don't mean that they're always like that. It might have just been something going on that you don't even know about. And they just, you know, they don't sign your autograph or take your picture or just flat out say no, whatever the case may be. You still got to have that same belief in them. Like I said, you just never know what's going on because our sports 80% at least right here, right? Yeah.
I think it's very easy to lose sight of the fact that they're actually at work. And, you know, they've got, as you say, they've got so much going on. They've got appointments with the press. They've got to meet partners and sponsors, and they've got their assistant there, just effectively chivvying them from one thing to the next. And, you know, I think it's a very nice place to be, but I think it's also a very difficult and a very stressful place to be, let alone getting on a bloody motorcycle.
I know, right? And tuning it all out, like, because I know that there's probably times where riders are like, man, I don't want to go to this press office. Forget that press conference, right? Forget that. I want to, yeah, you're absolutely, you know. So, dude, what is up, Martin Adams, mate? What's going on? Julie Wright, my man Daniel Underwood, Pete Marsh. I actually had a conversation with Pete Marsh this morning. Dude, Pete and Jake and the whole R&D, they're just mega people, man.
I think that's going to be an interesting tent to be in this year in the R&D racing one. There's a lot going on there this year. I think it's going to be exciting times for them.
Absolutely. You know, it's I can't wait to see what 2024 has in hold for them, because, you know, I'm a huge fan. Of course, I'm a huge fan of you guys, too, because I talk about you guys all the time. You know, obviously, us Americans, we're not just going to get on a plane and come out here to California, UK, when we got one here. But I always tell people across the pond, you know, all my friends are just people that are listening, you know, hey, if you ever was interested in learning proper techniques to ride, and seek no further than you guys, you know.
The thing about the school is it doesn't matter where you go in the world where a school run, the curriculum is exactly the same. Yeah. So level 1 here is the same as level 1 in the States, in the Philippines. So what that means is you can do level 1 in California if you want to, then do level 2 in the Philippines, level 3 in the UK, level 4 in Australia. You know, it doesn't matter. You get the same coaching and the same caliber of coaches as well. So it's pretty standard in that respect, which is great.
Man, you just gave me an idea for a bucket list, man. If I could ever afford it, that's exactly what I would love to do. Take level 1 here, fly out somewhere else across the world, take level 2. Of course, I'm coming for level 3 and level 4 with you. And for sure, that's where I want to end my journey at. But yeah, I would, dude, that would be awesome. Wouldn't it, Gary? I think about how awesome that would be. You know, because you get to see tracks in different cultures and meet different people that are same love, same passion, right? And meet new friends. And it's, dude, awesome. Martin Adams says, I'm booked in twice this year. It's mega. Bro, Martin. So, Martin, are you taking level 1? Are you level 2, level 3, level 4? Let us know. That's
obviously
awesome.
Martin's doing level 4 this time out.
Martin's a proper legend.
Yeah, he is. He is. Yeah, I think he did level. I think if I remember rightly, he did level 1 with us at Brands Hatch, and at the time we had the ZH2 as a hire bike, so we put him on a ZH2. I think he quite liked that.
I bet he did, right? I would have too. So he says level 3 again and level 4. Martin, again, dude, mate, you're a proper legend. And I cannot wait till 2025 where I fly out there and I get to meet all you guys. You, Jane, Pete, Jake, Martin. It's gonna be
It'd be good to see you.
yeah, absolutely it will. I can't wait. It's I talk about it all the time. Yeah, I had so much fun. I tell everybody, and I told you this before, man, it was the best trip I've ever had. Not just because I was by myself and I come to the UK. It was the best road race experience I've ever had being at the track. It was it's nothing like MotoGP, you know, it's different from Moto America. Don't get me wrong. I have fun there too, right? It's proper, it's just different, you know. I think it was the whole BSB always been one of my favorite series. Actually, physically going to my favorite track in the world. Already knew a couple people showing up, so I wasn't a total stranger in a different place and didn't know anybody. Right? I think then it might have been a little bit different, you know, just because it's you're just unsure when you're out somewhere and you've never been before, especially thousands of miles across the pond, right? But it's best time of my life. Absolutely. I come home, I told my wife, I said, you have got to go. Because my wife used to go to races with me all, like my first 12 years together, 10 years together. Oh, she was all about it. And all of a sudden I was like, hey, we're going here. She's like, I ain't going. That's all you. Like, yeah.
You'll have to get the hound put in kennels or get someone to look after it for you and bring her over.
Right. Yes. That's what I'm saying. But she definitely wants to come with me when I come in 2025. So I'm excited for her to come out there and I get to introduce her to everybody and get her eat some proper fish and chips and mushy peas and all that good stuff. Curry, man. Yes, I'm excited. I can't wait. So have you ever had any students you actually had to kick out of California Superbike school?
We try our best to ensure that when people come, they the rules that we have on our safety record is very, very strict, and as consequently our safety record is very good. We sometimes have students come who just get a little bit carried away by the whole occasion and start going a little bit quicker really than they're necessarily capable of, or just start going faster because they're enjoying themselves. So usually a gentle word in there, like just bring it back a little bit and you'll be able to master the techniques. Remember, today's we're going slow so you can go quick tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they tend to come round to that philosophy quite quickly. And sometimes you do get the odd one or two that aren't that can be a little bit problematic and can be hard work, but you get through the day and they get a win out of it. And, you know, occasionally you get some say, yeah, you were right. I was tearing around and I was a bit stupid, but thanks for bringing me back down to earth and getting me focused back on the reasons why I'm here. There have been people sent home, but they are very, very few and far between. And generally it's because that they become a liability to either themselves or others, or sometimes both. And if they can't get the message, you know, we try and tell them gently. Then if they don't get the message, we'll probably sit them out for a session, but so they don't ride. But if they continue to do things that are potentially dangerous, then we're not afraid to say, look, you know, you're gonna cause a whole load of problems, because there are people here who've paid the same as you and want to learn, and they're not able to because of your behaviour.
Yeah, so you're taking away.
Yeah, but I think probably even the length of time I've been doing it, I'd say you could probably count the number of people who've been sent home on the fingers of one hand. So it's a very, very small percentage.
That's awesome. I've been at many track days, and I've been there when people's been kicked out just for riding too aggressive and won't stop. You know, just it's not a place for wheelies. You can't get on the back straight and ride third, fourth gear wheelies. I mean, it's various reasons. Don't get me wrong. Everybody on the track's got to ride a little wheelie. I don't care if it's 2 inches off the ground. Yes, I did it right. It's proper. But you ain't out there doing John Hopkins monos, right? It's very important. And the environment, just being in a class, man. I remember I was so excited. Like that night, that whole week, I could barely sleep. I was like, yes, I can't wait, all this, all that, right? The whole anticipation, the whole journey getting there, and then showing up that morning, because I was in Phoenix, Gary. So I was at MMI. I was enrolled there at the time. So me and a bunch of my mates from MMI, we used to ride on the street all the time and talk about who's the fastest and all this. Of course, I was always the slowest on the street because I just didn't take the risk that they were willing to take, right? But it was funny when we ended up on the track for our first, end of the day kind of sprint race at the end of the day, because they line up all the new guys and let them do like 3 laps or 2 laps or whatever it is, right? I dusted them all, right? But man, I took so much away from just that little time asking the coaches while I was there, hey, this, that, listen, I find that approaching a class or a school, it's very important for you as a rider to put your ego away, and you're there to learn from scratch from day one, no matter what you think, right? To me, that's how I always approach it. And I think I get the most from it when I do that, right? So just humble yourself, sit back and listen to what he says. You might not agree with it, but there's a reason why that's in place. And there's a reason why Lee Jackson is 80 million miles seconds faster than you are on a track, right? There's a reason why this. So pay attention, have an open mind, put your ego, leave it in the car, show up and act like you're a newbie, right? Take it all in and get out there and properly pay attention and learn. And you'll be surprised at the end of the day, you're like, I'm so much more comfortable, so much, not, and being comfortable comes speed, right? So
yeah, that's why, we say to people, come with an open mind and a willingness to learn, and you'll improve. And they do. And for me, we went to Cheshire Bikers. They had a meeting last Friday. I was talking there about the school, and for me, I was saying to them then that it doesn't matter where you go. You can go to any training organisation whatsoever. It doesn't have to be the school, because there are some people who don't necessarily want to come to the school because they might find it intimidating, but they might find that working with the cops on the bike safe sort of thing is where they want to go. And for me, it really doesn't make any difference. If they invest in themselves and go with an open mind and willingness to learn, then that's great. I advocate training, and as you say, you can't learn enough.
No, you can't. It's just like anything, right? Like I tell people too, man, when I say, you see those MotoGP guys right there on the TV, like not the riders, because they're always learning too, but the engineers and the mechanics and all them, they're learning. They don't know everything. If they knew everything, they would be winning everything, right? But they don't know everything. Everything's is you learn every day. Yeah, and I think it's important to have that approach, right, to a lot of things in life, really. Because it can come back and bite you real quick. And one thing, Gary, that I wish they would change here in America is that not allowing beginner riders, right? So a beginner rider, even though they got their license, come to your school, be like, oh, I want to ride the ZX10. Or you're like, absolutely not. You're going to be on this little 400 or 650 or whatever, right? Here in America, man, you turn 16, you get your license, you go to brand new dealership and buy a SM1000R 240 horsepower, and ride it on the street. I just wish a lot of people would I wish they would change the law on that, and more like what you guys do over there. You got to start out and be at this level, and then you can go to this level, and then you can get your open license or however you guys do it, right? There's certain levels to this game.
Yeah, there's a tiered license system over here, and to be quite honest, it's not something that I'm familiar with. When I passed my test, you rode around the block twice. If you stayed on the bike, then you got your license. It was as simple as that. So yeah, the whole sort of thing now is geared to sort of gradual improvements and sort of steps, and it makes it more expensive, and it's financially it's a big commitment, and to get people on a motorcycle these days to make that level of investment is quite a big thing, and I don't mind. Once they've got a license and they can demonstrate an ability to pass the test, then they can ride a motorcycle, come along.
Yeah,
it's great.
No, it is.
Yeah, and we've got something new starting this year, That's going to be a much lower gradient in terms of rider training. That's going to be done on a course laid out on a paddock area. So so we're going to be able to work with riders who don't necessarily want to ride on the track, don't have full leathers, they don't have a helmet with a gold star, ACU gold sticker on there, they don't need lever guards, so it's a much softer approach to learning, and it's part of the CSS thing, which is great. So so we're looking to run those, and they're half a day rather than a full day. And again, people have done, we've done them in the past, and we had great success with them, and people were very pleased with the results that they got. So what for that one?
I think that's awesome. There should be more. I'm sure there's a lot. I never did the research on it, but I think people should be more aware and want to properly learn how to ride, man, because there's so much, especially out on the streets, right? It's not like when me and Martin and Gary and everybody was coming up riding on the streets, man. We didn't have iPhones and Androids and everybody with their face in their phones all the time, texting and TikTok and all that, right? People actually paid attention. Well, not all the time, but more so back then than they do now, right? Let's just be honest. So, I mean, now I find myself when I'm out there riding on the street, I feel like I'm in self-defense mode a lot more than I used to be back in the day when I used to be a little hooligan riding wheelies everywhere and 120 and all that dumb shit we did on the street, which we shouldn't have done. I'm not advocating it at all, right? But I find myself more of a for one, all the training makes you more aware of what's going on. The whole peripheral thing. I tell everybody, peripheral, watch TV, see if your wife passes down the hallway for what's going on this side, your dog comes by or whatever it is. Be aware of that, right? So when you're out there on the road, you be more aware of potholes or deer coming out or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I find myself being in a really defense mode, much more so than back when we grew up was riding on the street.
Yeah, and peripheral vision is one of the things we did. We dedicate 2 classroom sessions on the level 2 of the school, particularly to peripheral vision and using that sort of awareness. But I think you're right. Really, it's going back a few years. People would ride to work during the week, and then they'd go out at the weekends with their mates and have a ride because a motorcycle was their only means of transport. And it's very much a leisure pursuit nowadays. And when you look at some of the stuff that was around 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago, the performance wasn't that great. At the time, it was fantastic, but you get 90 horsepower out of a 550-pound motorcycle. And, the traffic was lighter, and I think you had a bit more time to see things. Now, all of a sudden, we've got motorcycles that weigh in at 400 pounds, 450 pounds maybe, and they've got 210 horsepower. And I think what happens is that people go out there, they put the bike away for 6 months over the winter period because they don't need to ride. Then they get them out and think they can go as fast as at the start of the season as they could do at the end. And it's not the case. You've got to build up to it. And of course, when things do go wrong on the sort of speed you can get out of motorcycles like that nowadays, then it goes wrong very, very quickly. Yeah. And it gets scary. And of course, the political climate is such that certainly over here now, if you get caught speeding, there's a better chance of going to prison for speeding than there is for breaking into somebody's house.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah, if you're doing the right sort of speeds, but that's the
yeah, I had no idea. No, it ain't like that over here. You get caught speeding, they just give you a tip. Well, if it's a really big speeding ticket, they'll impound your bike, and if you're running from them, they'll definitely throw your ass in jail. But I've been caught speeding several times, way over the speed limit, and fortunately never had my bike impounded, but had a pretty big fine and ticket and license suspended and all that bullshit that goes along with it. And then I talked myself out of one time, which I was absolutely chuffed and proud of myself because it was like 120 something, like a 45. And the cop got me, man, called in, and they were ahead and blocked the road. It was, one way in, one way out kind of street. You had to get down and then it tease off and all this stuff. But anyway, yeah, I ended up, because I was living in Phoenix at the time. So yeah, I don't know how I did it, but I did it. But you're right, man. I'm a big advocate. Even when I see people riding on the street, I always introduce myself and how long you've been riding, blah, blah. Is this your first bike? Is what you started on? And yeah, I try to pick people's brains and give them pointers when I can. I want to come by as oh, you're doing it all wrong and you shouldn't have bought this bike for a beginner bike, right? You just can't do that. But I just wish that America would start out to where you couldn't get a 600 or a 1000 for your first bike. You got to do it, a 400 for 4 years, and then you can do, whatever. But that's why our insurance is so high here in America. Dude, my insurance, I got a 2003 RC51 full coverage. It's like $90 a month, US dollars, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that.
Yeah.
Do what?
It's a 51, the VTR.
Yeah, the Honda RC51, the one that Colin Edwards won the World Superbike title on and all that. Yeah. Yep, the VTR RC51. Over here in America, we call it, on the side, it's called RVT. No, it's no, RVT out here. Duh.
Yeah.
Yep. Matter of fact, I got Ben Bostrom on one somewhere up in. Oh no, I took it down. It's actually up in my other room. Yeah, dude, it's an amazing. It's always been one of my dream bikes, the RC51. So yeah, but man, I'd love to ride on the street more than I do. I just, man, don't have really a whole lot of time. But when I do, again, I like to get out in the wind. It's the only thing that really clears your mind more than anything. Yeah, it's.
I still enjoy riding on the road. It's it's where I started. And okay, get some time to ride on the track, so I can jump on a ZX10 after I've done the classrooms, go as quick as like around wherever we're riding at the time. So when it comes to riding on the road, then it's great just to get on something that you'd think, yeah, you know what, I'm happy enough.
Yeah, just relax and just enjoy the scenery and the ride, man. Go out with a couple mates at lunch or whatever it is. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. It's it brings people together, right? And it makes people happy. Like over here, we actually got a couple people vet to track and TEB, man, I forget what it's called, but they work with a lot of veterans, a lot of war veterans that have PSTD, right? So they have a program where they bring them out, get them on the racetrack, teach them all that just to help them cope, right? And I've talked to a lot of them, and they say it helps. That's the number one thing that's helped them more than anything. Medicine, psychos, whatever. That's helped them the most, being on that motorcycle. Which says a lot about a motorcycle, right?
I think a motorcycle's a great place to be. You jump on it, you put your helmet on, you fire it up, you put your visor down, then all the troubles in the world just disappear. And there's not many things that can do that for you these days.
No, it don't. Unfortunately for us, like we have a lot of beautiful riding where I'm from in Roanoke, Virginia. We got the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Parkway. I mean, so when I do ride on the street, I don't stay in the city at all. I immediately hit the interstate, get away from all the traffic and all that. Yeah, and just go out there and enjoy the ride, man, out there in the country and all that good stuff. I'm not, into being crazy like I used to be on the street, right? It's still in there, right? I usually do it on my little CRF 100 at lower speeds out here. So when I do flip it, I'm not doing 1,000,000 miles an hour on one wheel, right? So
yeah, that's the way to do it.
I
think you get a built sense of self-preservation as well as you get a little bit older. You get smarter.
Right? You get wisdom, more wisdom. You just, man, your whole mind changes. You just not saying that you're not scared to go that fast or do any of that thing. You just once you become older and you got a family and a mortgage and a wife, all that plays in the back of your head. It's different for a road racer out there and that's their full-time job. They don't think about any of that. They get off the plane, they show up, they jump on the bike, they ride it to come back, and they say a little bit more traction control here, a little bit more engine braking here, sit down in his chair, drink some water. Okay, we're done. Go back out there, do it, get on a plane, go home or to the next round. So it's yeah, man, it's good stuff. Gary, this has been a lot of fun, man. We're coming up on an hour.
That's good.
Yeah, this is good, man. This is good. I look forward to having you back on. What's the plans with the school in 2024? You said you was pretty much 7 months booked out.
Yeah, we've got seven dates this year in the UK. We're 70% sold out. So the first one's at the beginning of May. That's at Brands Hatch. And I think that's all sold out as well, if I remember rightly. Then we go to Bedford, then we got Donington, then we go back to Bedford again. So it's going to be going to be quite an interesting year, I'm sure.
It is. So anybody listening at 70% sold out, I suggest you get online and sign up and fill in those slots, and you'll have a really good time. Not physically, you're not going to be out there riding wheelies, but you're going to have a really good time hanging out with all the mates and meet new people and being in that atmosphere and yeah, learning proper techniques. And a lot of people don't think about that simple stuff too. Peripheral vision, looking ahead. I tell people too, man, wherever you look on that bike's going to go. So if you see a pothole and you want to avoid it and you look at that pothole, guess where you're going to hit? That pothole. Yeah. So it's very important, just simple stuff like that tremendously helps everybody out. But before we get off here, Gary, man, I'd like to talk a little bit about more of the race season coming up in 2024. I know we kind of chatted about this a little bit. I know you don't know too much about Moto America, but man, dude, our class is stacked this year. Superbike, Super Stock, Super Sport, down to the Junior Cup, Twins Cup, a lot of movement. There was rumors there a month ago, maybe it might have been a month ago, where it was a good possibility we might have ended up with Glenn Irvin out here on Warhorse Ducati, which
I had a bit of that as well.
Yeah, I would have absolutely. I was a big advocate. Everybody's like, my mates over there across these, well, we don't want him to leave BSB. I'm like, it's just temporary. He'll be here for 1 or 2 years and he'll come back. I promise. But we want him. We would love to have Irvin. Let's get him over here, right? Just opens the door. And that's always been my dream, man. Is Moto America and BSB combined together, right? It's what a show that would have been, man. To have him over here would have been absolutely. And then America could have met a top notch BSB guy and how cool they were. Maybe they would, of course, I'm a big advocate and I talk about it all the time. So I'm trying to turn, of course, more Americans onto BSB, but I think that would have greatly helped. Right. But we got Loris Baz back. So he's coming back. Ben Spees is back. He's not racing, but he's a team principal on Raul, the new Ducati team with PJ Jacobson and Kayla Yakov. Man, this year's Moto America is going to be absolutely good, right? And then brings us to World Superbike, right? Everybody knows Top Rack on the BMW, Johnny Ray on the Yamaha.
He was good. I thought that Johnny Ray looked really comfortable on the Yamaha. I thought it was going quite well on it.
I think so too. It's like me and Jules was talking about this last night. I'm like, look, man, it's he's been so long on an inline four. Now he goes to, it is an inline four, but it's a cross plane crank, different firing order. So it's just different, right? It's not the speed of the machine that's going to be an advantage or anything. It's how well he adapts his riding style to get the best out of that Yamaha. Same thing with Top Rack and the BM for anybody racing. It's how you suit yourself to get the best fit and the best feeling and make that bike do what you want it to do, but in the same instance, give you that feeling that you need as a rider to achieve those unobtainable speeds that we all envy. All those viewers are just drooling over watching you on TV, right? Or in real life, which is important. So yeah, man, it's that's what I tell everybody when it comes to rider swaps, man. And then of course the garage side of things, Gary. Nobody knows what happens inside the garage. How well they gel with the team, how well they don't gel with the team. But you can see all that out there on track anyway. So if you just open your eyes and really pay attention and watch, you can pretty much see what's going on to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think that Bautista's still the one to beat them.
You're not the only one that says that, right? And listen, I say that too, Gary, and this is why I say that. It's just like Jake Gagne here in Moto America. It is so hard to beat somebody that gels so well with the team, that knows each other inside and out. Yeah, he might not be the fastest guy around the track every lap that day, but he wins that race because of everything is just 100% boom, right? And when you have that, I don't care what bike you got, who you got as an engineer or whatever, your data guy, you might get them on a day or two, but at the end of the championship, you don't stand a chance. You really don't.
He's got that bike working really, really well, and you can see he's really comfortable with it. Absolutely. Proper bearing that. We've seen him in the past where you've had a rider on a particular motorcycle and they've been unbeatable for years, doing on the Honda, for example, and Rainey on the Yamaha, that sort of thing. And they were just at one with the bike and it made all the difference.
Yeah. So Peter Marsh, mate. He says, Gary, please can you explain about the new training you are offering away from the tracks this year?
Yeah, we briefly touched on it a few minutes ago. It's something new that we've got coming up that we're going to launch, and it's a CSS Superbike school product that's run for riders who don't necessarily want to ride on track or maybe feel intimidated, but still want to improve the skills. So because we can run it in we're going to run it in the paddock area at Alton Park, at the Tarmac Lake at Donington, the lower paddock at Brands Hatch, and the Monza Suite at Bedford Autodrome. And so we're going to lay out a circuit using cones and give the riders a classroom session and get running around the cones and just stop them and give them hints and improve the riding and give them things to do and techniques. And because it's not involved on a track, there's no back protectors needed. That doesn't mean to say you can't wear one, but it's not compulsory. You don't need lever guards. You can turn up in textiles, for example, which you can't ride on the track in the UK. So you can turn up in a riding jacket and a pair of Kevlar jeans and a pair of boots and gloves, and you can come and learn some stuff there. It's going to be a half-day course. So again, that'll be an early start, finishing about 12:31, something like that, and then another one in the afternoon. So that's going to be launched very, very soon. And the first event we're running is going to be on the 4th of April at Alton Park. So it's quite exciting times. We'll hope to see quite a few people on those. And again, it's something that improves your riding, and that's what it's all about. It's they'll go away with some skills. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting that going. That should be a good gig.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome, and that'll be out on your guys' website too, as well. Correct?
We won't be on the school website, but we will be launching a website with it. But in the meantime, just watch out. Keep your eye on the social media, on the Instagram and the Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And there'll be information and details coming soon.
Well, you guys heard it. Yeah, that's awesome. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. And I foresee, yeah, you'll fill up on that too pretty quickly, quite as well too. Absolutely.
Yeah, we hope so. As I say, we ran it a few years ago with one of our former partners, and it was very successful. So we've got new partners who are going to be getting involved in that. So they're looking forward to it as well.
Good stuff. I did actually have a question too myself, as far as, let's say if somebody was actually interested in being a coach at California Superbike School, right? Do they have on your website? Do they have like job available section, or do they just contact Jane, email, or how does that work?
Yeah, what we do, all the coaches are former students from the school.
Okay.
So we like somebody to have done the school, and it can work one of two ways. Usually we like to do level 1, preferably 1 and 2, but they can either be invited to be a coach or they can put their hands up and ask, which is what I did. So we'll go from there, and the process isn't the easiest in the world. We get out of every 25 applicants, we get 1 coach. So the training's not the easiest in the world, but the bar's set high for obvious reasons, and that's that's where the school sits in the great scheme of things. So we like to think that we're one of the best, if not the best, rider training setups in the world, and we want coaches who are able to step up to those standards. But yeah, anybody who's done the school 1 and 2, if you want to come and have a go, then please give us a call. We're always looking for coaches.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. So another question too, man, just so everybody, is there a price difference between level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4 courses, or how does that work?
The difference in price comes dependent on the venue.
Okay.
So because Donington Pass costs a lot of money, then we have to charge a premium price for Donington. You come to Bedford, obviously, because it doesn't cost as much, then the price is lower. But whether you come to do level 1, 2, 3, or 4, the price is the same at that particular venue.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. So you guys heard it. The same price, just get on there, and I highly recommend it. Absolutely. And wherever you're at in the world, you could, wherever, look them up. You guys are in America, the UK, Australia. Do you guys have one in Japan too as well?
I believe they've done a school in Japan, but I'm not exactly certain because that's dealt with by the Australians.
Oh, yeah.
I think the USA branch have a bit to do with that one as well.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I didn't think about that. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely, you're right.
we've done schools all over the place in the past. So
That's good stuff.
Hi.
Hi.
Where's our kid?
He stayed the night with Nana. She came and got him.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Shining, the kids are here.
Okay. My wife just got home from getting her nails and toes done. You know how you women like to do that, right? So we're like, yeah, absolutely. You know, my son stayed the night. My son's friend stayed the night last night. So I got up this morning, took him home, and then her sister come and got her kids, and they're gonna go with us to the little Super Bowl shing ding. So they just got home and she wanted to pop her head in like she always does. But I even tell my mom, my dad, they're like, well, if you're in there podcasting, I don't want to come in and interrupt. I'm like, bro, absolutely. Open the door. You can come in there, give me a hug, give me a kiss. I'll tell you I love you. I ain't got no shame. Absolutely not. Right. It's yeah, for real. It's
way to do it.
yeah, it's the way to do it, man. Don't yeah, absolutely. I encourage it. I think it's good. So Gary, listen, man, dude, this has been hold up. We're not done yet because we gotta talk about my favorite, which is the TT 2024 and BSB, right? A lot of movement in BSB2 as well. Tommy took the #1 plate. Now he's going to Honda. It hadn't been confirmed yet, but what I've been hearing allegedly is that Glenn's going to be with PBM, be a one-rider bike. There'll be a LTD and not Powerboard Motorsports, right? So it'll be PBM something else. From my understanding, allegedly it's not 100% set, so nothing's been announced yet neither, but yeah, a lot of movement in BSB too. It's going to be a proper year in all classes. You know, we got Finn Whedon coming back, our junior sport equivalent to our junior cup champ out there. Cameron Frazier, GP2 champ. I mean, it's good stuff, man. BSB is going to be proper this year. So from my understanding, that'll be the first time Honda's had a #1 plate on their bike in BSB since 2011.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long time. But you know, my feeling on that is you didn't win the champion. You got the champion rider, right? That's putting his number on that bike. So that's not a championship winning bike. Now he wins the championship on that bike. Absolutely, by all means. Man, I don't know. How do you feel about a rider that won a title on one team and goes to another manufacturer and runs the #1 plate?
Do you know what? It doesn't make any difference, really. It's not the first time it's happened, and I don't think it'll be the last.
No, it won't.
Remember, Fogarty went to Honda on the RC45 with the one plate. When was that? 96, I think, something like that.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not unusual, and I think that the riders really have to look after themselves in that respect. If Honda came along with a fantastic deal, then that it'd be foolish not to take it. It'd be interesting to see how it goes as a full-blown superbike, the Fireblade.
I know.
I think that's gonna be the crux of it, really. If they've got a bike that's absolutely sorted out, then I think that he'd be in with a chance of winning it again.
Yeah, and the last race of the year, BSB, bro, was just fun. It's my favorite race of the year. It was absolutely hands down, half a point, bar none. Whoever wins takes it, right? It was I thought for sure they was going to take each other out there for a minute. And then I'm like, then what happens, right? If they take each other out, it's I guess it would fall back to the previous race, maybe. I don't know how that'd work, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it would have been. I think that probably they both had a little bit of the hardware to make sure, look, just stay on it and bring it home. So
that's right.
That'll be quite interesting to see how that goes. We've got one of our former students who's just started coming back to the school, who's moved on to the Ready for Race Ducati V2 this year, and that's Joe Francis.
Nice.
So we're looking forward to seeing Joe going well this year.
Yeah, I think I sent Joe a message, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I sent him a message. He still hadn't replied back. So Joe, if you're listening, bro, hit me up, dude, so we can get you in and on for sure. Yeah, and then the TT, bro, right, dude. Peter Hickman, 136. I mean, how much faster are going to go? Soon we're going to see 140 miles an hour in a couple years, right? Which is just, I mean, proper mental. Man, these guys are just legends. Every single, down to the very last person across that timed event is a proper legend at the TT. The Macau, the Southern 100, all those. But this year we could see Michael maybe surpass Joey for the all-time TT record. So
Yeah, that'll be quite a poignant moment, won't it?
it will be.
I think he will as well. He's he's phenomenal on that motorcycle around those road circuits, and it's nice to see as well that you got people like Peter Hickman who can do well in BSB, then go to the Isle of Man and go as quick as he wants around there as well.
Back in the day, there wasn't very many people that raced the TT and that did well on short circuits, right? McGinnis dabbled in it, was never really like, proper at it like, other people were. But now you see it more these days of people doing short circuits and doing fairly well and still doing the TT.
Yeah.
It just, to me, I always separated them, short circuit riders versus TT riders, because of that, because nobody really had a big success on short circuits that road, the real road racing. Now you see that they do, and they're very successful. So they're the same rider, same craziness. It's just, I guess they have something extra in there that they can unlock when they go to places like the TT and just whatever it is. It's absolute legends, Gary. Like yourself, you're a legend too. Absolute legend. For what you're doing for the sport, yeah.
Well, I got involved particularly with the school because pretty much and it goes back to what you were saying before. I've had so much fun and pleasure out riding motorcycles, and I've met some lovely people. I've been to some fantastic places, and if I can pass on that joy of riding a motorcycle to somebody else, then for me that's it. Job's done. Because it's all about. They're too expensive to buy just to park in the garage and dislike intensely.
Man, that is a fact, right? Especially these days, Gary. Right? I remember when I bought my first 600, it was like $6,200 off the showroom floor. Right now, buy 600 minus the ZX6R over here. It's I think 10.5, which is reasonable. The R6s were like 14 grand or something. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But over here, you go to most motorcycle deal. Well, in my area, I can't contest anywhere else, but in Roanoke, Virginia, you go into dealerships and there's barely any crotch rockets at all, sports bikes, right? At all. They're mostly side by sides, ATVs, Groms, right? Little Z125s, dirt bikes, stuff like that. You don't see very many R1s or GSXRs or. Yeah. Now, if you go down to Eurosports, they're a Indian Ducati dealership in BMW. Yeah, they have the SR1000 and a couple of V2s, maybe a V4. I doubt they have the V4R because that's a special one, right? But yeah, it's not like it used to be back in the heyday. You walk in a dealership and there's ZX7, ZX9s. I mean, GSXR 600, 750s. I mean, just all that cool bikes, and the colors we had back in the day were awesome. Now everything's just kind of they're good looking bikes, don't get me wrong, but we need to go back to the 80s and 90s color schemes where we had the pinks and the fuchsias and the purples and all that cool stuff, man. That was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. But it's certainly becoming the case over here now. People you still see plenty of the sports bikes on track, but there's specifically track bikes rather than road bikes as well.
Yeah.
We of course were partnered with Ducati for a few years, and when the Multistrada first came out, I think it was 2010, 2011, and myself and a colleague took a pre-production bike around the dealerships for a bit of a presentation, even so people could see it. And the number of people who said at the time, "Do you know what? This is exactly what I want because I've got an 1198. I love it to bits, but after 20 minutes, I just ache." And so this is what I've been looking for, and this is what I want. And so we finally realised, I think, what the Continentals have been telling us for years. And these new sort of adventure bikes now, they're just as quick. You can go just as quick on a multi as an adventure, or whatever it might be on the roads we've got now, as you could on a sports bike, especially with the
Yeah.
potholes.
Dude, yeah, for sure. A lot of people don't realize that too. I'm like, dude, sports bikes, they're designed to go fast around a track, not fast on streets with bumps and on public roads with all that stuff. You can, but you gotta go to the TT for that, right? But you can't do it here. So they're not as fun to ride on the street, right? I mean, be honest with you, they're not versus a BMW 1200 GS Adventure or a Multistrada or KTM 1290 Super Duke or Tuono or whatever it is, right? Where you're more upright, it copes better with the bumps and the everyday situations on the road. Yeah, I have more fun riding those bikes than I do my RC51. I just get a lot of questions about the RC50 when you take it out because you don't see them no more, right? They're like, "Oh my god, that thing's awesome! It sounds so good. What is that?" But yeah, man, good stuff, Gary. Dude, listen, it's been an honor, absolute honor to have you on the podcast again. Looking forward to having you back on. Yeah, it's good. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been good to be back, and it's nice just to sit and talk stuff about motorbikes.
Absolutely. We'll do it again. So why don't you tell everybody how they can find California Superbike School, how they can sign up and all that good stuff.
If you go to superbikeschool, all one word, .co.uk, the website's there. You can go through the pages on there. I'll talk to you about the levels. There's a page on there for the equipment that you need. We've got a partners page on there that got links on to send you to their websites if you want their products. There's an email inquiry address there. You've got any questions, then by all means fire an email over and we'll answer your questions for you. It gives you the prices, the availability, where we're going to, and some customer feedback as well, some sort of recommends, that sort of thing. So go and have a look around, see what you can find. Plenty of questions on there that we think most people want to know the answer to, but if it's not there, then just drop us a line and we'll answer your questions for you. And come along and see us and learn.
Absolutely. And you guys keep a lookout too for that street course they're going to offer here coming up in the future soon, which is a great course for any of you guys out there that are not comfortable or not wanting to be on the track, that still want to seek that learning how to ride and proper techniques that offer that too, which is going to be big. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, that's called rider confidence training. So keep your eye out for that.
Rider confidence training. There it is. You guys, before I get off here real quick, before me and Gary get off here, of course, you already know my man Martin from the Clothing King, .co.uk. You can get all Pendergast merch. You can get hats, beanies, all that good stuff. Obviously, I say it all the time. My man Pete Marsh and my man Jake Marsh, Club 45 out there in BSB. Some of the best people in the world. Gary as well too, and his wife Jane. Hello, Jane. So yeah, thank everybody that watches all the time, and it's an honor, absolute honor to have everybody involved in Pendergast and everybody that watches. Again, it's thank you guys so much. Stay tuned because I actually have another podcast coming up, so you will see this guy again here in about 2 hours. So Gary, listen, just stay on with me for a minute, and yeah, we'll take it from there. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you here shortly.
Thank you everybody for listening. It's a pleasure, as Chris says.
Absolute honor.